Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and it's the beginning of the month, so you guys know what time it is. We're gonna go through my April wrap-up and my May TBR. So to start, these are the 4 books I read this month in April. I'm giving you a warning now. Some of these ratings aren't finalized just because I was getting out of a reading funk. I don't know if I was being too lenient and everything was just catching my attention, but there's nothing that I read this month that's below a 4 stars. I had a good reading month in my opinion. So let's get into it. This book deals with a young girl named Signa, and from a young age, she's able to see the Reaper and trap souls that haven't moved on to the afterlife. The only time she can see the Reaper though is when she's in between the living and the afterlife. Her parents passed away when she was a baby, so she's moved from house to house. They mistreat her and she's unloved. Finally, she moves into this house where she's able to live as a young lady in high society. But the woman of the house, she passes away from a disease. But because she could see trapped souls here on earth haven't moved on, she meets the woman of the house and she basically tells her it wasn't a disease. Someone did this to her and now they're trying to do it to her daughter. So throughout the book, you're seeing her trying to become a young lady in high society while trying to figure out who the murderer is. This book is so good, so unique, and I never thought these words would be coming out of my mouth. But I'm in love with death. Because death is a person, he's the Reaper. Goodreads, I rated this book 5 stars, but in reality, I rated it high 4 stars. Again, I can't pinpoint the rating. Just know it's really good. I really enjoyed it. The second book I read this month is Caravel. I got into this series because it's a 2-part trilogy. The first trilogy is Caravel. The second trilogy is Once Upon a Broken Heart. I heard such good things about that trilogy that I really wanted to get into it, but people highly recommend you read this one first. This has been on my TBR for a month, so I finally read it. Again, I truly enjoyed this book. It's so unique. This book deals with our main character, Scarlett. She has a younger sister named Donatella, and from a young age, she's been begging the master of this game, Caravel, to send her and her sister tickets so they could participate in the games because the games are so grand, so unique, so fun. But by the time Master Legend responds to her letters and sends her tickets, she's of age, her abusive father puts her in an arranged marriage, and she's such a cautious, paranoid girl that she's just like, no, we can't go. If father finds out, he's going to punish us. We can't leave the island. Donatella is like, no, I'm not having it. She ends up messing around with this sailor boy, and he's just like, I know where that is. I could take y'all if I could get the 3rd ticket, because Master Legend sends them 3 tickets, one for Scarlett, one for Donatella, and one for Scarlett's fiance. Mind you, she's never met this man a day in her life. Okay, she doesn't even know his name. Donatella and this sailor boy kidnap Scarlett and takes her to the game. But when they get to the island, they lose Donatella. So throughout the book, you're following Scarlett as she's trying to find Donatella and win these games. The magic in here is crazy. Throughout the book, they reiterate to you, do not believe everything you see. It's all a performance. This book had me on my toes. I couldn't figure out what was real and what was fake. This book was so good. Again, I think I rated this book 5 stars on Goodreads, but in reality, if I was supposed to rate it right now, I would say it's a good 4 stars. I really enjoyed this book. I can't wait to get into the second book. The next book is Their Vicious Darlings. This is a dark romance retelling of Peter Pan. I do not recommend this for everybody. The smut is a little crazy. It's a reverse harem. So you should already know what's going on in the book. I really enjoy it. I love Disney retellings. I ate this book up. I gave this book 4 stars. It's short novellas. You can read these in a day. I highly recommend them if you're into that type of stuff. The next book, I haven't read it in its entirety. On April 30th, I was 50% through the book. So I'm counting the 50% I read. And that book is Powerless. I'm not going to talk a lot about this book because I'm doing a whole reading vlog of the first 3 books in a series. But just know, so far at this moment, I don't even care how this book ends. This is an infinity star read, okay? So these are the 4 books I read in April. And with that being said, let's hop into May's TBR. Now, this is not your ordinary monthly TBR because I have no idea what I want to read. Usually, I make a list and I stick to it. I might read 1 or 2 books off schedule, but for the most part, I'm good at following my TBR. So the books that I'm about to show you I have my eye on, they might be on my May TBR. Who we don't know. So the first 4 books are part of a series. I literally chose them because I just want to continue the series to complete them. Most of the books you already know by what I've read in April. I want to read Powerful, Legendary, Foxglove, and A Court of Wings and Ruins. The only reason I'm hesitant on this book particularly is because I want to do a whole reading vlog of the whole series, and I've already read the first book. I read the second book more than one should, and now it's time for me to get into this book. So I don't know. I highly doubt this is going to be on my May TBR, but it's here. just in case. Now the next 4 books are books that are hyped up in my head and I want to read them before the hype goes down and I never reach for them. The first book is The Phoenix King. I really want to read this book just because the author is from Maryland and there's not a lot of authors that come out of here, and I really want to support her, but this book is big as hell and it's written in 3rd person. I don't like 3rd person, but I ordered a special edition of this book, again, just to support the author, but I really want to see if I like it or not. Next is The 7-Year Slip. I started this book, I think I got to page 15, and at the time I wasn't in the mood for it, but now that I'm still getting out of my reading funk and I'm open to all genres, I think it's a perfect time to continue this book. Next is The Heartless Hunter. I just seen this all over my TikTok, and again, I want to read it before the hype goes down in my head and I don't want to pick it back up. And lastly, for that category, the next book I want to read is Where the Dark Stands Still. I saw this cover and I felt absolutely in love, so I want to read this before, again, the hype goes down. Now the last 3 books, I don't know how I'm a part of the book community and I haven't read these series yet, but I told myself this is the summer where I read them all, and now that it's starting to get hot outside, I think it's perfect time to pick them up. So those books are Twisted Love, Reckless, and Things We Never Got Over. This book though, I did start. I think I got to like page 160 something. I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it, but I didn't buy this book for no reason, so I'm gonna read it. I have 2 copies of the book. This is their indie version before it got published, so I decided to annotate in here. I drew in here and everything. Oh yeah, and how can I forget, I'm definitely finishing Powerless this month. Don't worry, I'm too in love with it to stop. These are all the books that may or may not be on my May TBR, but I do have my eye on them. But with that being said, this is all for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.